organize this, and I hope you are going to have a beneficial time with me. I'm quite tired, as Maruf mentioned, and a bit cold as well, because in New Zealand the weather is beautiful. So nowadays is still summer, and it was quite hot before I come. I know that you are used to the weather here, but I'm not yet. Actually, today we are going to talk about Islam and the West. Namely, we're talking about the identity or Muslim identity in the West. Being a Muslim and being a British, or being a Muslim and our cases and being a Kiwi. And Kiwi stands for New Zealander. You might have heard of the Kiwi bird. You won't find it in other countries apart from New Zealand. That's why New Zealanders are called Kiwi. I have delivered many workshops in this regard, and it was full of challenges and excitement. Let's talk about that identity from different aspects. Today or tonight, I'm going to just touch upon some different parts. The meaning of when I say what is your identity, even if you are not a Muslim, you might have multiple identities. I might be a Muslim, an Egyptian, New Zealander. It might become like a package. And in the airport, when the intelligence guy was asking me to which homeland you belong, that was a very quite easy question to handle, because I'm originally from Egypt. I lived in New Zealand. I have my family there and 3 kids. I keep moving from a country to another. Our understanding in the Quran is that the whole world is our home. The whole world is the home of humanity. And if we have fairness, we won't have troubles with we suppose not to have any boundaries and stuff. Yet security is very important for every country. But at the same time, the Quran says, وَالْأَرْضَ وَضَعَهَا لِلْأَنَامِ. Allah says in Surah Al-Rahman, chapter of the Merciful, that the whole earth belongs to human beings. So UK is my homeland as well in that notion, or in that sense. And I've asked the guy who asked me the question, you are British, right? He said yes. I said, well, what about if your wife is Maori? Maori is the original people in New Zealand, right? And you are British, maybe your grandfather was Irish, and you have some British and Irish heritage. So what is your son would be? British, Irish, Maori, Is that going to confuse him? Is it going to be a rich experience for that person? Do we have conflict here between being a Maori, British, and New Zealander, or whatever? So he said, well, okay. So the meaning here, what I want to just highlight here is that we need to look at our own heritage as Muslim and separate this from our package of cultures, because we have different cultures, as I mentioned. What might be Islamic doesn't mean that it should be. Doesn't mean that every aspect of my Egyptian culture is true in the light of Islam. Or Pakistani culture might conflict sometimes with Islamic culture. So we have to make that separation and understanding that we have a religion which has got a set of values and principles. And the principles for us, or the main values, the whole religion has been built on, as you know, the 5 pillars. Prayer, charity, fasting, pilgrimage, and shahada for sure, or testimony. Now, if you look at the pillars of Islam, if we're talking about prayer, you will find in the Quran that in the salat تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر. Why am I praying? Why do I pray to God? God says in the Quran, you are praying not because I need your prayer, but because my kingdom will be increased because of your prayer. My kingdom won't decrease because you stop praying to me. but actually you are praying to get away from bad stuff. And that should be reflected in dealing with other people, Muslims and non-Muslims alike. If you're praying and this is not reflected in your life in a positive manner, then your prayer is just useless. Charity. Why I'm paying charity? We have to pay 2.5 of our surplus every year to the poor and the needy. Why do we do this? خذ من أموالهم صدقة تطهرهم وتزكيهم بها. It is a purification of the soul, purification of my mind, and it is an evidence of my faith that I believe in God. I'm not miser nor stingy, and I live for myself and others. I'm not selfish to live only for myself, and I need to think about others as I think about myself. What makes an Islamic identity? Fasting. Why do I fast? Again, it's about struggling, it's about establishing the ability to control my senses, being aware of myself. I am aware of myself by fasting. When I fast, I come to know when I feel angry, how can I handle my anger, and what are the indications of being angry, or what happens when I get angry as well. Because we give up food, right? What happens when I'm very thirsty and I have the water in front of me, I don't drink. Beautiful food and fruits in front of me, but I don't eat. I can do this, but I'm not doing that, believing in God and believing in the benefit of fasting. You know? So again, it's about self-control and self-awareness and developing the goodness within myself. You know, even some non-Muslims fast. Do you know that? Even some atheists believing it has good, healthy aspects. What makes an Islamic identity? So, prayer, charity, living for others, giving as I take, fasting, self-control, self-awareness, self-development. You know, in Ramadan next year I'm supposed to be better than that year. You know, and then Hajj pilgrimage, I go once to Mecca, where I live the memories, not only of Prophet Muhammad, but the memories of Abraham, our great father. You know, Abraham, when he was struggling after he decided to answer the call of God by sacrificing his own son. You know, and then the Satan come to him and say that, you really going to do this, Abraham? You're going to get rid of your son? You're going to kill him after having him, after being very old? You know, and then he stones this shaitan who came in the form of a human being 3 times. And then we go to Mecca and we do the stoning as a symbolic way to just bring this memory to us. To know that in life we struggle, in this life we are struggling. We have temptations. We always have temptations in our life and different desires. But we always will think about the day of judgment, will think about being obedient to God, being obedient and aware of His presence around us, everywhere, every time, and He is with us with His knowledge. He's all-knowing, all-hearing. So again, it's about all of this. This is sets of values, being kind to our parents, commandment from God, be kind to your parents. وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. You know, وَذِي الْقُرْبَى, be kind to your kinship. Uncles, aunties, cousins, nieces, nephew. It's the big family. I'm not only living by myself as a Muslim, I have a sense of belonging. I belong to my family. I have strong ties. I would struggle going to visit my auntie, will get some gift, and I do this regularly because I believe this is part of my faith, part of being a Muslim, that I need to just get a strong connection with my family. And my family is not only my dad and mom, nor me and my wife and my kids. My family is quite big as a Muslim. This is the concept of a family in Islam. So again, this is a value which makes the Islamic identity, isn't it? Loving our neighbors, being nice to them, whether they be Muslims or not. You know, I don't care what doctrine they are following, what belief they are following, whether they believe in God or not, but I need to practice my faith, which is being kind to my neighbors, not to harm them. If not benefiting them, at least not to harm them. Again, that is going